DepEd Order Number 72, Series of 2009, also known as the Inclusive Education as a Strategy for Increasing Participation Rate of Children. For this lecture, you will learn the following. What is DepEd Order Number 72, Series of 2009? What is the purpose of this order? What is inclusive education? And why is it considered as an effective strategy for increasing the participation rate of children? Who are the children with special needs? And what are the components of comprehensive inclusive program for children with special needs? So let's start with the purpose of this order. It is to help enhance the participation rate among children with special needs. Secondly, it is to address and guarantee the right of these children with special needs to receive appropriate education within the regular or inclusive classroom setting. Inclusive education has become the main thrust in the education of children with special needs in the Philippines. So, what is inclusive education, and why is it considered an effective strategy for increasing the participation rate of children? Inclusive education is a process that involves the active participation of students, families, educators, and other community members in the planning, implementation, and evaluation of educational programs and services that meet the needs of all students. It is a way to ensure that all students have an opportunity to learn and participate in their school community's life. Inclusive education is the core principle of the K 12 basic education program. This promotes the right of every Filipino to quality, equitable, culture based, and complete basic education. There are many reasons why inclusive education is important. Firstly, it ensures that all students have an opportunity to learn and grow in a safe and supportive environment. Secondly, it prepares students for the real world by teaching them how to work with people of all abilities. And finally, it helps to break down barriers between people with and without disabilities and promotes understanding and acceptance. Our country has also been working to develop policies that support inclusive education. One such policy is the creation of special education or SPED schools, which are designed specifically for students with special needs. Special education is the practice of providing individualized instruction and support to students with disabilities or learning difficulties. Is inclusive education the same as special education? Well, it seems that these two are the same, but definitely they differ from each other. The difference is that in inclusive education, learners with disabilities are given equal opportunity of education as with the learners without disabilities. Special education is just one of the programs under inclusive education of DepEd. On the other hand, inclusive education is a larger program that is based on the idea of inclusion. Special education in the Philippines has only served 2% of the targeted 2.2 million children with disabilities in the country who live without access to a basic human right, the right to education. That is why the Department of Education, or the DepEd, has organized the urgency to address this problem. The Philippines has been working on implementing various programs and initiatives to support inclusive education. One such initiative is the Inclusive Education for All program, which provides trainings and support to teachers, parents, and school administrators on how to best meet the needs of all students. The children with special needs in inclusive education are those with learning disability, intellectual disability, visual impairment or blindness, deafness, traumatic brain injury, autism, language disorder, developmental delay, dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, and autistic spectrum disorder. Here are the five components of comprehensive inclusive program for learners with disabilities, giftedness, and talents. First is the child find. This is the process of locating children through the family mapping survey, advocacy campaigns, and networking with local health workers. The children with special needs who are not in school should be visited by the special education teachers, and parents should be convinced to enroll their children in SPED centers or schools nearest their home. The second component is the assessment. This is the continuous process of identifying the strengths and weaknesses of the child through the use of formal and informal tools for proper program grade placement. Existing SPED centers in the division shall assist regular schools in the assessment process. Next is the program options. Regular schools with or without trained SPED teachers shall be provided educational services to children with special needs. These schools shall access educational services from the SPED centers or SPED trained teachers. The first program option that shall be organized for these children is a self contained class for children with similar disabilities, which can be a monograde or multigrade handled by a trained SPED teacher. The second option is inclusion or placement of the child with disabilities in general education or regular class, where he or she learns with his or her peers under a regular teacher and or a SPED trained teacher who addresses the child's needs. The last option is a resource room program where the child with disabilities shall be pulled out from the general education or regular class and shall report to a SPED teacher who provides small group or one-on-one instruction and or appropriate interventions for these children. Another component of a comprehensive inclusive program for children with special needs is the curriculum modification. Curriculum modification is a generic term for an educational method that allows students with special needs to have easier access to knowledge and resources. It is a fundamental approach for responding to the needs of students, particularly those who have a variety of learning styles. So, any learners who are struggling to participate can benefit from these modifications. The curriculum modifications shall include service delivery options like cooperative or team teaching, consulting teacher programs, and others. The last component is parental involvement. This plays a vital role in preparing children for academic, moral, and spiritual development. We know that when parents and teachers work together to support the students' learning as well as their social and emotional needs, students perform better in school. Well, not only parents are involved in the development of the child. As the adage says, it takes a whole village to educate a child. The teachers, as well as the school administrators, together with the parents, need to collaboratively develop and facilitate the most effective program for children with disabilities. And this program shall be included in the School Improvement Plan or the SIP. The successful implementation of inclusive education in the schools requires faithful adherence by the DepEd officials to do their duties and responsibilities. These are defined in the enclosure number 2 of the order. Furthermore, the officials at the division, region, and central offices shall provide the needed training on inclusive education to administrators, teachers, and other school staff. It is also their task to regularly monitor the implementation of the program and to provide the corresponding technical assistance needed and conduct an evaluation to determine the effectiveness of the program and also to improve its implementation. So, to sum it up, the Philippines has made significant progress towards inclusive education in recent years. However, there is still work to be done. For inclusive education to be successful, it is vital that everyone should be involved, including students, families, educators, and community members. We need to work towards common goals.